Hey, what's going on, folks? So I was checking out the controversy on Twitter. You don't know if it's a real controversy because it's Twitter, but you do find that people agree with it. Anyways, the take was that people were outraged that Little Mermaid didn't really focus on slavery much or talk about slavery much, being centered in the Caribbean in that time period. It's like, that's odd. Yeah, there was a black queen in the movie, right? So it's kind of hard to dwell on the concept of slavery and have a black queen. It's one of those things where if we did have the slavery element, then we wouldn't have had the black queen. So let's rejoice that we had a character that they put in a high position to appreciate, right? So here's what my problem is with this stuff. There is people that just don't want us to forget that slavery occurred. And I agree with that. We should never forget. What I don't like is, like, it's like they wouldn't want you to watch a movie without being reminded in every movie that slavery existed, when Black history is more than being oppressed people. Like, we used to be kings. Unfortunately, I did not know that, about the history of, and I can't even articulate it the best because the American school system never ever taught it, right? At least for me. I would not have even known about the greatness of Black history if it wasn't for this Nas song about, us having kings and getting robbed of our gold out in Africa and stuff like that. So I did my own look and I was like, oh, we had some dope warriors and stuff like that, but it's just not really taught that much. And even myself, who read about it, because I don't think about it often or I'm not exposed to it often enough, I don't even remember it to tell you in this video well enough. And that's my point. That's my point. I can tell you all about the Underground Railroad, Harriet Tubman, and how bad we had it right here in America, right? So what happens is everybody just knows as if as being slaves, but we're not focusing on our potential, right? We're not just an oppressed group of people. We have been, and we're still overcoming it right now. But here's the benefit to recognizing your potential, knowing that we was kings. Remember, it's so that it can also even help us as we remember that we were enslaved or oppressed. When we also remember that we were great people and or kings and conquerors, right? We was kings and conquerors, got oppressed, so let's get back to our former prestige. Let's get back to being kings. But without that narrative, without that prestige, all you have is, let's just stop being oppressed and be treated equally, which sounds very nice. Like, I love that too. But it's like, let's get back to being great. You know what I mean? Let's get back to having our own armies. Let's get back to having our own businesses, our own Wall Street, those kinds of things. We need to have that back. So that's why I like the idea of we have a Black mermaid princess, right? We had a Black queen, because it's a reminder and or a subliminal message that, yeah, you guys are capable of royalty too, because you did have kings and queens. Maybe not in the Caribbean at that time, but y'all had rulers. So why do we have to continuously focus on the narrative of slavery and oppression when there's both sides to history, right? So that's my thing. It's not ever about forgetting. It's about both. So, in a movie with the goddamn mermaid, a fictional movie with the mermaid, I don't think we have to be reminded again that, we was dealing with, that we was oppressed in that particular movie. Even again, right, going back to the theme of the movie, they already had the mermaid versus people thing. And the misconception with that, and not judging the entire race on the actions of a few. So in my opinion, going right back to the principles of the movie, we don't need to overcomplicate the plot. Humans, mermaids, and whites versus blacks in the same movie, when we already have a black woman and a white male trying to get together. They're ripped apart, or they're fighting their race being mermaid or human. They don't also need to fight the fact that they're black and white and they're a mermaid and a human. It's just two unnecessary plot points. Pick one or the other. And obviously, since she's a mermaid based on the original, like, there's no need to make race an issue. And the only reason that, for the most part, we even have predominant blacks in the movie, I shouldn't say predominant, it's like half, right? Is because, they just wanted to add some black people to the movie. When I remember Little Mermaid, there was hardly any black people, if any, in the movie to begin with, the cartoon movie. So they just wanted to add black people to the movie without it being a movie about black people. And that's perfectly okay. In fact, it's how I prefer it. Maybe that's my 17% talking, my 17 Wales, Scottish, England talking, right? Ooh. But yeah, I actually just like seeing black people in a movie, and it's just normal. We don't have to even mention, hey, there's a black guy over there. We don't even have to do that. He's obviously a black guy. She's obviously a black woman. Let's move the freak on. Because as much as, now this is that conservative side and people are going to get a little scared. People are going to get a little scared of me, but hear me out. As much as we don't want to forget the past, we still have to look towards the future. And we have to focus on that. And what does that future look like? The future of eliminating racism, which will never happen, by the way. There's always going to be prejudice and racism or class systems because humans have been doing it since the dawn of time. You get rid of every black person in America, and then white people, all respect, will focus on who's poor and who's not poor, who has blonde hair, who has dark hair, who is thick, who is slim. That's what they're going to do. You remove all white people, black people are going to do the same thing. In fact, black people do it already. Because growing up, me being light-skinned, I was not accepted by my fellow peers for my skin complexion, even though historically, if you were 1/8 black in this country, you were treated just like the rest of black people. The only difference is if you're 1/8, they may not know. So you might just get away with it. But the moment they know who your daddy is or your daddy's daddy is, you get treated like everybody else. So no matter what, I went off on a tangent, but it's never going to be eliminated. So where was I going with it? A world. We need to focus on a world and what it looks like to not have racism. You know what that world looks like? Black people. Always gotta say black people. People get offended if you say blacks, by the way. You gotta say black people. You can't say the whites. You gotta say white people. Black people, white people, Asian people, because we're people, not objects. If I ever say anything else, I promise I just misspeak. To me, that's not a big deal, but I recognize that other people would consider it, and that would ruin my message the moment I outrage you on something as trivial as that. That's not where you should get outraged on. But we have to move towards a world where I'm not even aware that you're a white person consciously or I'm black. We're just coexisting in the same space, You ever get a bunch of puppies together and they're different colors or whatever? You don't necessarily go, ooh, look at that brown puppy. Ooh, look at that white. You don't really do that. You just go look at the puppies. Oh, the puppies are so cute. That's where we're trying to go. Oh, the human race is so trash. Oh, the human race is so good. See, we want to be trash together or we want to be great together. We don't necessarily have to always have this class system. So that's the world that I envision. How do you achieve that type of world? I'm going to tell you. You're throwing a black queen. You're throwing a white king. You're throwing a white prince that is the son of that black queen, but we don't complicate it. She loves that boy. It don't matter. He loves his mom. It don't matter. They look completely different. No one's even talking about it. No one's even making a big deal that they look completely different because it's a nice thing. Hey, me and my wife are talking about adopting an Asian baby. We might just do that. You're like, what? An Asian baby? I'm going to tell you exactly why we might adopt an Asian baby, because it cuts down on that awkward conversation of saying, hey, by the way, you're adopted, right? They're just going to look different all their life. And one day you're just like, hey, by the way, I'm just confirming. I'm adopted, right? I'm just confirming. And it's like, yeah, you're adopted. That's why you don't look like the rest of us. But we love you. We love you just like our other child. Here's your money for school. We'll take care of yourself. So that's what we thought of. Anyways, that's my thought on The Little Mermaid. What do you guys think of what I just said? And your take. It's actually, I was interested in putting this on the vlog channel, but I don't want to spread myself too thin on the channel. So there's the vlog channel, there's here, but because it was Little Mermaid, it was content, I felt like I could say this here and you guys would care, some of you. But I'm active on Twitter, I'm active on Instagram. Y'all know where to reach me. If you made it to the end, make sure you comment He's active on Instagram and Twitter, so I know I pay special attention to you folks that said you made it till the end. Until next time, I'm out.